particular one in Indiana that's pretty darn scary with great big ovens and such. So for those of us who ever thought it couldn't happen here, but what we're dealing with is sort of, it's like a shell shock. It's like the citizens of Wisconsin are trying to deal with what's right at hand. And it's very difficult to introduce the idea that this international community that funds war as a corporation is really, I believe, at the top of this food chain. Because when you get down to how the United States has waged war, including Libya, even though it's a tad bit better than what George Bush did in Iraq, but it's still waging war without getting the consent of the Congress, which is an impeachable act in the United States. It's very hard to get the average citizens of Wisconsin who are standing up on the street for the first time in their lives with their protest signs, protesting for the rights of their neighbors who are the teachers. It's very hard to get them into a bigger frame of mind right now, and I don't even think it's necessary in that sense, because there is a group of us who already have believed this, and now we know it's true. So rather than being radical fringe, you know, there's some sort of international community of, you know, multi-billionaire bankers who are pulling all the strings. That used to be a fringe idea. Now, almost everyone at least has this knowledge. And a lot of it came from when Michael Moore, who made the great movies, you know, he investigated the pharmaceutical industry and capitalism, and made some wonderful documentaries. 400 people in the United States own 90% of the wealth. 400 people. And so average citizens are now being educated by what us revolutionary sort of fringe elements know. I don't know. I think this was part of the plan, was to inundate us on every level with, you know, environmental issues, taking away environmental rights, the energy, the power plants, the unions, healthcare, everything is just being pulled away, and people are so shocked that I think they thought that they wouldn't be able to rally as they have. But if I can say, in Wisconsin we have a saying, if you screw us, we multiply. So that's what we're doing. I'm very, very proud of the people of Wisconsin for being so responsive.
Has there been any provocation from the police, or are they cooperating with the group?
You know, this was one of the most profoundly successful things that came out of this. Very early on, the police and the firefighters were exempt from their unions being divested. So they were safe. But they came out right at the onset and said, we serve the people, we stand with the people. And so we had this situation where the uniformed police would be standing guard, and their brethren would be off duty protesting. And they would then, when they were off duty, they'd get out of their uniforms and come and protest. So we had this remarkable show of what real, true democracy is like, because technically all of these politicians are in our employ too, but they're acting as if they're the dictators. So as the protests went on, we had this wonderful situation where most of the people occupying the Capitol and camping out were University of Wisconsin-Madison students, who, and UW-Madison has always been a very active, left-wing, liberal, politically oriented, progressive school. And so the students were missing school but getting an education in history and poli-sci. So the story goes, one of their moms was worried because the kids weren't eating as they were sleeping in the Capitol. So she called down to the pizza place, Ian's Pizza, and gave $200 to have pizzas delivered to the kids. And the policeman came. In Cops for Labor, they came and delivered the pizzas to the kids. And somewhere somebody got a hold of this, and Ian started to get calls all around the world, people ordering pizzas. So we would go to the protests, and there would be boxes of pizzas that were bought by people in Egypt and all other states, and there would be the teachers in LA bought these pizzas, or the firemen in Colorado sent these pizzas. And so there was this wonderful, joyful sort of cooperation and success of this amazing nonviolent protest. And the day before they actually closed the Capitol, the policemen, the Madison policemen, I think they knew what was going to happen, because they came out plainclothes, and 600 of them came and slept with the protesters as protesters in the Capitol. And the next day when they closed the Capitol, you could only get in if you were escorted by your assembly person from the front door. So there was very limited access, but you could get in. So people were getting in and staying in, and they started to occupy Capitol again. Well, the governor ordered everyone kicked out, and there was this very beautiful scene that I got to watch because someone had an iPhone that were broadcasting. There was a group of protesters, mostly college kids, probably 25 of them, sitting in, and at either end of the hallway there were 4 lines of policemen, 10 policemen each line, sitting there. And these were the Madison police. And the protesters wanted to be arrested because that was their right to have civil disobedience. And the policemen were on our side, but they had their uniforms on. And so here was the moment where these policemen were going to be asked to do something illegal. If they arrested the protesters, the policemen would have been in violation of the Constitution, even though their boss told them to. And this was the moment that we were afraid we would get to. So down the stairs came my assemblywoman, Janet Bewley, and she gave the protesters a little talk, and she said, look, you can get arrested. It's your right, civil disobedience. We will support you if you do that. However, you can also leave the Capitol, and we will support you if you do that. There's no shame in it. You haven't lost. That will be your decision, and we will support you, so you guys decide. And they got together, and they decided that if they got arrested, they would be forcing the policemen to do something illegal. And from that educated decision, cooperatively, they decided to leave. And there's this beautiful video of this long line of policemen, assembly person, and the assembly people all had t-shirts, orange t-shirts. And all the protesters came out, and everybody high-fived them, because we knew we're in an impossible situation. It's not the policeman's fault, it's not the protesters' fault, and they left the Capitol. And after that, the policemen were replaced with out-of-town policemen and a private security force. So I think our police knew that was coming. Difficult situations, but amazing stories of cooperation and peace.
Is it still going on? Have you received any reinforcements from other states in America?
Well, the news is getting out more and more. The protests are still going on, but they've diminished as we've taken to the streets to get signatures for the recall. We're fighting in the courts now. There's always protesters at the Capitol, but I think that it will come to a head when the Attorney General of the state is supposed to be holding our elected officials to the law, and he's not. So we're going to recall him too. But a lower court judge has ruled that a stay on this bill because it was illegally pushed through. And I don't think anybody knows, there's no precedent. When did this happen the last time? What did other people do? Even in the courts, how do you go back and redo what was done? We also have a judicial election coming up on April 5th that there's a huge rally to get the Democratic candidate onto the state Supreme Court so that we can begin to address the legalities of what's truly going on. And if you address the legalities of what the governor has done, you really have to say that he's committed treason. He's illegally closed the Capitol, he's replaced his security forces, he's committing felonies, not only, and he's traveling the state lying about everything and what's going on. So it's really a precedent-setting time, and my hope is that we in Wisconsin will work our Constitution, and there's enough good people in office in Wisconsin. It's a very progressive state, and it's also many generations, 7, 8 generations of Wisconsinites are you know, our governor was imported from Colorado. He doesn't really care about the state. So we're in a really exciting and it's kind of scary time of change right now.
You mentioned the FEMA camps, right? Have
Yes.
any one of you ever seen the you know, the boxes? There's reported that there's over 500,000 of them, and there's railroads coming into the big
Oh yeah.
big compounds, and there's double-decker trains waiting outside.
And there's many big buildings with very large furnaces on the ends of them.
Has there been anyone taking pictures from demonstrators?
These pictures that I've seen have been available online. The reports, the videos, the reporters who went in. The FEMA camp in Indiana is the one that I've. Actually, this was from 2006, and it's still online.
Because I'm thinking like if they want to map the activists, like take out the dissidents, the outspoken leaders, and because they have these lists, they put them on the red list and the yellow list and the blue list. So in G20 summit in Pittsburgh, you had the National Guard taking pictures from protesters. I was wondering if this has taken place in Wisconsin.
I don't know if it's taken place in Wisconsin. I don't think that any major reports in Wisconsin of people being round up. I haven't heard anything about that, but of course my statement was always, I'll probably be one of the first to go. And a lot of us feel that way, that if that really were to take place. And of course with the Homeland Security Act, they pretty much have full access to everything, can just come into our homes and take us away if they'd like, legally, according to the Homeland Security bill. But I haven't seen any evidence of it happening yet.